Well, that was enjoyable. sorry for the technical difficulties there about an hour ago. Folks, we tried to go live and do a live reaction with you guys on the Apple event, and Apple apparently was not having any of that. It looks as if over several channels they got shut down, ours included in that, over copyright issues. Is what it is. But we're back and we're here to react to the Apple news and the Apple event itself and kind of give our thoughts on where Apple could be headed from here. What's going on, Fat Man Zoom? How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. I'm good. That was a little bummer. We had like 100 people in.
I know.
But before all that, the market has been doing well. It's been rather surprising how it's performed today. So I'm feeling good about my account.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, the overall market has just been on absolute fire, locked in some profit in a lot of stuff, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But some decent things going on with the iPhone. If you guys want to take part in the poll that I put up on Twitter, at Own the Chaos, I asked if the iPhone 12 was just a refurbished iPhone 6. If you want to cash in on your opinion on that, 34 votes says 73% of the 34 votes say yes, and 26 are no. We'll see what happens.
Are you a low-key hater on Apple? I mean, I know you buy the stock.
I've always been a low-key hater on Apple.
You don't realize. I mean, I've had both. Have you ever had an Apple iPhone?
Yes, I have once, and I couldn't stand it. I had to go back.
Which one did you have?
I have the iPhone, like the early ones, like iPhone 3, and then I had Apple iPods, and then I just hated them.
Okay. I mean, it's like another world. I've had both as well. And I don't know. They're incredible.
The biggest running joke was that you couldn't charge your phone and listen to music at the same time at one point. So that was interesting.
I had the iPhone 3.
I never went back.
Ain't that right?
I never went back.
Oh, man. What's up, people? What's up, Steve, Amar, William? I'm like, I don't even know if you could hear it. I'm like wheezing.
I actually just bought the Samsung Galaxy Note 20, and I'm in love with it.
Of course you are. However, Don Front is joined here. He buys every freaking product. He got your computer, and then he got my iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard after I bought that, and got the exact same thing. But he said, hands down, the iPad computer over that double screen one.
I love my Asus ZenBook Pro. It is incredible, especially with streaming. It just makes it so much easier. Trading, forget about it. I love having the dual screens and being anywhere I want to be.
Steve, we don't want you, buddy. If you don't like it, we don't want you.
If you don't love it,
shove it. Ab Yoga, we're going to talk about banks. We got a lot on the docket today. So we're going to talk about, obviously, this Apple event. We're going to talk about Zoom Investor Day. We're going to talk about bank earnings for sure. And then we got one more thing, Amazon Prime Day, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. And then there's a lot more, but those are the topics we wanted to bring to the table. Also, we'll have questions at the end for the Chaos crew. So there's a lot to go over, but this Apple event is obviously the key.
Yeah, and we're getting through it, guys. It's just jacked us all up, so we'll get in the flow of things. But speaking of the Chaos Crew, those of you who are part of the Chaos Crew, you guys have got to have been loving the watch list over this last couple of days. We've just been hitting them big time, my man. Zoom was definitely one that just did really well. We put this on the watch list on Monday, and it has just completely taken off from the 480s all the way up to as high as 513 so far today. I actually ended up stopping out of this one, made a pretty penny on it, but Zoom is firmly above $500. It feels awesome. We've just been nailing them and knocking them out of the park.
Yeah, we've been, so it was on yesterday. It was also on last week, and we've been talking about that $500 mark. It's been toying around with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's cleared it now. But, I mean, as we're talking, looks like some things are pulling back, Apple, Amazon, but Zoom's still holding up. What about, I wanted to ask, because I am always curious, you Chaos crew that gets the watch list, did you guys scoop up any of this? I hope you did. I hope you're scooping up the Pens and the Zooms of the world, but let me know in the comments, what you've picked up the past 2 days, if anything, from the watch list and how it's doing. Square, obviously, it's on a little bit of a pullback of what it was, but it's still holding up pretty nicely right now, sitting at 189, so it's right around the 190, 2.5% up. So
Yeah.
all that stuff's looking good.
Square was a monster on the list. I mean, we've just been nailing it, guys. So if you are watching right now, there's 300 of you hanging out in here. By the way, thanks for hanging out. We could certainly appreciate if you guys give us a thumbs up or subscribe if you want to hang out here. But if you want to be part of the Chaos Crew, make sure you're hitting join and next to subscribe. Would love to have you as part of the crew. I'm sure a lot of the folks that are here in the chat can attest to just how awesome it is to be in the community. And so if you want to help support the channel, we would love to have you over. All right. So before we get into more of the Apple stuff here, let's talk about bank earnings a little bit. There's been some pretty decent surprises here as far as the banks are concerned. And not really too much of a surprise as far as we're concerned. We talked about this on Sunday about there being some optimism surrounding the banks, and we heard from JP Morgan, we heard from Chase, I believe, and they did really well. Delta actually had earnings today. I guess we figured that out somehow. Delta had earnings today, and they missed earnings, but they beat earnings expectations, but actually missed out on revenue. No surprise there as well, but gave us some opportunities. Actually ended up looking into JetBlue and grabbed yet another starter after already taking profit last week on JetBlue, and we'll go ahead and show you that in just a moment. But the banks are looking really good, my man. I'm anxious to see what Goldman Sachs actually looks like. I believe it's tomorrow's when they have earnings, and I think that they're going to do really well too.
Yeah, and I think you're referring to Citigroup.
Citigroup, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. It's hard to keep up with them all.
I know. Yeah, and so one of the things that people were looking at with the banks, as we have, we're big fans of, obviously, Goldman Sachs, as you mentioned, best in class, I would say. Bank of America reports later this week, and Bank of America actually is down almost 2.5%.
Yeah.
But one of the good things that came out of earnings and what people were looking at, two things. I mean, everybody's waiting for a reinstated dividend, which won't happen now, but hopefully will happen soon. But the bigger thing that they were looking at now was how much cash they're setting aside for default loans.
Yeah.
So that's been a big topic of conversation. And it looks like it's far less than, the projection. So that's really promising. And that's good because obviously with everything going on now, people, moving forward, we're a little bit worried about as far as like defaults on loans and people being able to pay. And I think that's probably going to be going through the new year. So banks have been preparing for that. And it looks like they're scaling that back and they feel like they have enough cash reserves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Give me 1 second. I'm going to actually switch this over because people can't be mature about anything. I had to put some people in timeout and switch up the
oh, is this not
chat.
Members only?
It was not. It wasn't. It is now. So anyways, we got 1,200 of you in here hanging out, watching. Yeah, I gave him the hammer. Don't you worry. If you guys want to chat now, since you have to be immature about it. Yeah, so if you want to chat, be part of the Chaos Crew, help support the channel, and be part of a great community. But yeah, so the banks have been absolutely awesome. There's 1,376 of you in here hanging out. Happy to have you guys in here. Let me go ahead and let's just share my screen on my Webull account here, looking at Apple as a whole, just checking back in on the price. It is actually down below 120 a share, and this isn't a surprise, right? We said this was going to happen, that there's going to be overhype on this thing, and that we were looking for the drop. I actually ended up getting a starter position at 123 for the just in case. Once they started talking about the iPhone 12 and 5G and stuff like that, I wanted to kind of at least hedge my bets a little bit, get in here. I'm looking to probably grab about 20 shares total on the public account. Again, if you guys aren't familiar with this is the account that the Chaos Crew members get. We've actually done really well this month so far. If you can look Started this count out with $5,000 and have been growing it since then, since the beginning of September. Over the last month, done 20%, 19% growth over the last month compared to the S&P 500's 5% growth. So really good stuff here. If you guys want to be a part of that, hit the Chaos Crew, be a part of the Chaos Crew, hit the join button. But yeah, Apple has actually come down and cracked just below 120 per share now. My man, Fat Man Zoom, and this is not anything that we were actually shocked about.
Sir Titha, thanks for the donation. iPad Air announcement. There was no iPad Air announcement. I don't think there was an expectation of that either.
Yeah.
Oh, no. There is an expectation. I'm sorry. There is an expectation of that, but that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
So we've had HomePod Mini, we've had the iPhone, and then did we have anything else that was announced? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was it so far.
And then the gaming that was part of the iPhone as well.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I sold off, as most people in here. I feel like the Chaos Crew played this well. But I sold off most of my position. I kept the starter position yesterday, so I've been hanging on to it. But I'm not.
Yeah. Should be good. We're back.
Man, this is a tough day.
This is a tough day. God damn.
All right.
We're back though. We're back.
All right. So the next topic, this is a good one. So Zoom's Investor Day is tomorrow, and it's called Zoomtopia Annual User Conference. And we wanted to talk about this. I want to talk about what to expect from it. For those of you who are in it, if you could pull up the chart, Brad.
Yeah.
It's made a great move today. One thing I want to talk about is what to expect. And then what I'm going to do for everyone is I'm going to tell you about, I'm going to do this quick, but 4 stocks that I think are going to outperform Zoom next year, and one that you haven't even thought of, Brad. Blow your mind.
Really?
All right.
All right.
So let me give the setup. Zoom, crushed, absolutely demolished earnings last quarter. They blew up. They had been on a run, but they blew up. They're absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
What do we expect from the Zoom conference? I personally don't expect anything different as far as like typical events. I'd love your feedback on this, but we had the move today. I think tomorrow, pre-market, I think will move up, but I think there's going to be a sell-off, profit taking. What do you think there?
I think that's absolutely what's going to happen. And that's why I actually ended up taking profit from this today, getting in with an average of around 494. And this went crazy today. Ended up selling it off at 509. 515 was the high of the day. So it looks like that was a pretty good decision overall. And I'm pretty happy with that trade. But I agree. I think that it's going to be very similar to Apple, right? Right now, we're seeing how Apple has been selling off. For the most part, but I think it's just because there's been a lot of profit taking. There's always overhyping going on with Apple, and I think that we could see something similar with Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes like everything else we say. So for you who haven't heard me say this a million times, they've got to blow us out of the water.
Yes.
So what we're expecting from that is, here's what we need to hear. We need to hear about penetration into education, which we may not hear because they're still not charging schools, but that's okay. Penetration to education, penetration into healthcare, those would be opportunities for growth.
Yep.
But the numbers were so high before, I think that's kind of baked into the price because it was up like 366%.
Yeah.
So they've got to say, hey, we're increasing guidance to 500% or whatever. So if they increase guidance, that will be good for them. But they've got to give new revenue streams. So their phone is something that they haven't really leveraged too much, but they're getting into. And then there's talks about something with Zoom rooms and making the platform better. So I think diversification of products are going to be important.
Yeah.
So that's what we got to hear. It's going to take a lot to make this thing move post-event, but buy on the dip, people. Like, this one's going to be fine. And this is just a buying opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. I was able to take my profits on this one today, and I took profits on this today in anticipation of their sell-off coming tomorrow, and then looking to grab a dip on this. My hope is that 500 is the support for this, and that I'll be able to just kind of scoop some up down there when the profit taking starts. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think that's probably going to be the expectation as far as price action is concerned on Zoom. All right. Go ahead.
So I'm going to give you my 4, and we can go into detail with this later.
Okay.
But do you have any idea of what the 4 are? You probably guessed 2 to 3.
Really? Square could be one.
No. Video conferencing competitors that will outperform Zoom.
That would outperform Zoom? No, I have no idea.
Yeah, the stock. Microsoft Teams, their product isn't better, but the stock will perform better. Facebook and Google. I predict
you think Google? I don't know about that.
I predict they all outperform Zoom next year, and here's why. I don't think Zoom's going to be able to live up to expectations for next year. Now, if you talk about 10 years, Zoom is good. That's my prediction.
Okay.
The other thing, now that doesn't mean their product is better.
Yeah.
Here's the 4th one that I think is going to be a sleeper in the space is Adobe.
Really?
Adobe Connect, which launched a year ago. I think they continue to step up their game, and I think they prove to be a viable challenger to Zoom. You heard it here first, people.
Interesting.
Adobe. Nobody's talking about Adobe. Fat Man Zoom's talking about Adobe. Fat Man Zoom Adobe.
Well, everybody's talking about Adobe.
Not for video conferencing.
Not for video conferencing, no. But another one would be interesting would be Cisco. If we're talking about video conferencing, Cisco Systems has a pretty good one too. And it's actually on the cheap right now. So that could be another one that may be worth taking a look at as well. But yeah, those are interesting.
Here's the thing with Adobe is like, and Cisco doesn't have this, is Adobe has their cloud-based platform that they already have a huge base.
Yeah.
And so Facebook, Google, I feel like it's more of a casual platform. To try to get it over to business is really, really hard.
Yeah.
And so Adobe is the only one I feel like that personal use, but also developers and designers use. And so it's the only one I see as like a really viable contender in the video conferencing space. So
it's very interesting.
Write it down.
Very interesting. I mean, looking at it right now, if you guys are looking to get into some Adobe, I would look to maybe see if this pulls back to somewhere below 400. If you can get Adobe under $400 a share, that would definitely be one that I think would be a bargain at that point, especially with some of the points that Fat Man Zoom have brought up. So yeah, I think that this could definitely be an option, a viable option for some of the reasons that you brought up. I would be impressed and surprised if Microsoft and Facebook outperformed Zoom in the next year. Yeah, I know. I would be very surprised if that happened. But Adobe is very compelling. That's very compelling. Okay, so 445 of you hanging in here. Thanks for hanging out and being patient with us and some of the technical difficulties we've experienced all day. So you guys are the real ones. We appreciate you. Checking back in with the Apple price action here. It's been a little wild so far. Back up to 121. So looks like the bottom here really has been right around 120. May consider getting into that. And also with in the middle of our technical difficulties, I was trying to show everybody the performance over the last month with the public account that is accessible to all of our Chaos Crew members. 19% is what we're up over the last month compared to the S&P 500's 5%. So the portfolio has been doing really, really well. This is something that we started with a small account. We started a small account challenge and kind of grew it from here. So if you guys want to be a part of that, hit the join button next to subscribe and come be a part of the crew, help support the channel. Would love to have you guys over there at the crew. All right. So any other things that you guys, anybody in the chat, hit us up. Is there any new developments with the Apple event right now that we're missing out on that you would like to talk about? We're here for it. It was unfortunate that we can't watch it with you because of copyright issues. So as people are rolling in, just kind of updating you on what's been going on.
Did it? I think it ended.
Did it end? I thought it was. Oh, I'm sorry.
2 hours.
2 hours. So it started at 1, right?
Yeah, it's only been an hour and 12. The hour and 12 is the stream.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Do you guys let me know, people? It looks like it ended.
Well, they said it was going to be 2 hours. I guess they were very efficient about it. But
I might have missed something. But okay. So what do we got next?
Next we have really just the Q&A. We've talked about. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we don't. We got Amazon. Forgot all about Amazon. So Amazon has actually come down today a little bit, and this has just been an absolute monster. We talked to you guys about Amazon under 3,000 just a couple of weeks ago when a lot of you guys were freaking out. What do I do with my Amazon stock? And we said, guys, we're calling 4,000 by the end of the year. And you guys thought we were nuts. Thought we were absolutely crazy for saying 4,000 by the end of the year. And that was 2 weeks ago. And look at where it's sitting right now at 34.37 per share. Went as high as 34.98 pre-market today. And it's just been an absolute monster. I stand by that $4,000 price target by the end of the year for a lot of reasons. Not just because of Prime Day going on, we've talked about, but earnings are coming up, and I think that they will absolutely crush those. We could see as high as $3,600 per share if they crush them like we think they're going to. And there's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holidays, all that good stuff is boding well for Amazon. They've lined this all up perfectly, and as long as their earnings deliver like we think they will, Amazon should very likely hit 4,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's going to be juiced up by Prime Day.
Yeah.
So Prime Day today and tomorrow, I think they're grossly underestimating the sales. And
Yes.
This is like buying behavior.
Right.
I think what it's also doing is getting people started earlier, and like it's just going to nicely transition into holiday season. And we mentioned this before, Prime Day was in July last year. It's typically not in October.
Right.
And so just because of everything going on, they moved it. So this is just an added boost. But I think it's going to blow it out of the water. People have nothing better to do than sit home and shop.
Yep.
And now you have a reason. And it's all over the place. I see people on Instagram. I don't see any other stuff like this on Instagram. So I think it's going to be insane. I think there's going to be a great run up leading up to this, and your $4,000 prediction, I think, is going to be easy peasy, my friend.
We got Gabriel saying 4,000 by November. That is a bold prediction, my friend. But yeah, I think so too. I mean, it could be possible. I mean, who knows what earnings are going to present us with? Yeah, I still think that 4,000 by the end of the year, definitely achievable.
Yeah, this is a great stock. It's an incredible stock. And I know everybody's going to be talking about a split. You know, there's no legitimate news regarding that or rumors regarding that. I think people are just saying that to say it. But you wanted to get to 4,000. That announcement would easily get it to 4,000.
Yes, that would cause the stock to go absolutely berserk. Just to shout out a few people. What's up, Bob Myberg? Welcome to the Chaos Crew, man. Happy to have you. And Brat's coming in with the $40 donation. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Bratz.
You are always one of our loudest cheerleaders, man. I appreciate you. I said made over 2K with Apple today. That's awesome. I mean, that's really awesome. That's just the Chaos Crew doing Chaos Crew things, my man. So thanks so much for the donate. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a monster. I mean, people always ask us, right? What's one stock that you would want to invest in for the next 30 years? And it really is a tough question, but you can't go wrong with Amazon. You just can't. And we haven't even talked about the potential impact that it would have on package delivery, which is kind of what I talked about in the mentorship this morning. If you guys are in the mentorship, we talked about Amazon. Somebody asked me about UPS and how I felt UPS was going to do. And I think short-term UPS is going to do really well. I think their earnings are going to do well. I think leading into the holiday season, it's going to do well. FedEx will do well too. But the caveat here is if Amazon says anything about ramping up their package delivery, it's not just about the trucks that they have toting packages around either. They have legit airlines that they're working themselves into as well. This is going to be huge for Amazon. And if they start taking up market share when it comes to parcel delivery, that is going to decimate UPS and FedEx and going to just really kind of push them aside as far as the delivery service is concerned, because who knows how far this goes. It may even go further than just delivering Amazon packages. And that's the road that I think that we could eventually start traveling down when it comes to Amazon and where they're going and how they're taking over the world and everything else. So that's a whole different side of things that I don't think a lot of people are really paying attention to, but could if that kind of rears its ugly head in these upcoming earnings.
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody in the Chaos Crew, you can begin to start asking your questions now. The last topic we have is just a recap of the Apple event. Obviously, the little bit of the end, we missed some, but here's what we got. So if you didn't watch it, the 30,000 foot view, HomePod Minis, which is going to be launched on November 6th. I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And $99, technology. I mean, it's just another reason how they're getting people their whole lives ingratiated in Apple. But I don't think that moves the needle. iPhone gaming, the world's most popular PC game that I hadn't heard of.
I haven't heard of that either.
I was like, what game is that? League of Legends. That's being brought to iPhone. And then obviously the phone. So there's 4 phones, which was rumored. It's the iPhone 12. It's the regular iPhone 12, the mini, the Pro, and the Pro Max. And then what I liked was, I will say this, I liked that with their mini, they didn't downgrade it as far as like the quality of it and the processor. Yeah. So the big, this is like Tesla, like these things are really good, but they're not going to move the needle with the stock, but they're definitely going to increase the lifetime value for the customer. But like their GPU and CPU, they touted as 50% faster than any smartphone. That's awesome. They talked about battery life, convenience, like all that stuff. So all that's good. And what they've done historically is they've had 2 levels, but like the lower level would be like a less of a processor. So this is just the size is different.
Yeah.
And I think this is great because especially like I've heard complaints about iPhone users, like the bigger phones, especially women, like they want a smaller phone. So this doesn't sacrifice speed, quality. And so now you have more options. I think the price points are really good. So there's a lot of options. And based on everything else going on with Apple, I bought that iPad, dude. I didn't even tell you. It's not getting here till next week. I bought it, so it'll be a month. So there's still the demand. Their iPad Mac is backed up, which we knew demand was high.
Yeah.
These phones, demand's going to be high. They got great promotions with it. So I think Apple is going to be great. Like it's going to crush it just like Amazon's going to crush it through the rest of the year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, I can say what I want about their products, but the fact of the matter is that they get shit done, and Apple is just an absolute monster, which is why I invest in the stock. And so they are just doing things. And to your point, as far as sales are concerned, and we've talked about this across the board, as far as PCs and Macs in general, the slowdown isn't happening yet. People are still going to continually start working from home permanently, not just because the Rona is here. And so that's just only going to continue to increase demand, not just for the iPhone and some of their fancy products, but just the Macs in general, the computers in general I would be interested to see what computer sales are going to be in this upcoming earnings report. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I'm most excited for, to see how much, because to your point, as far as them being back ordered, what kind of demand are we seeing? Just to check back in with some of you guys are great over on Twitter. Check it out at On the Chaos, just to have some fun. I said, is the iPhone 12 just a refurbished iPhone 6? 49 votes now are in, and 73% say yes, and 26% say no. If you guys want to go check that out, go at On the Chaos over there. We post some pretty fun stuff over there too. So.
All right, so let's get into the Chaos Crew Q&A.
Yeah, let's
Chaos Q&A. If you're watching, the Chaos Crew is the membership that we have on the channel. It's just a low $4.99 a month, but we do these members only live streams. So like and subscribe to the video. If you want to get in on the chat, if you want to ask a question, click the join next to the subscribe button. What we got here, let's start. I need you to pull back up the Amazon chart.
Okay.
Sean I think this is what you wanted, Sean. Sean Campbell wanted to know support for an entry point for Amazon.
So Amazon's actually getting beat down a little bit because of Apple announcing their HomePod Mini starting at $99, which is a competitor to the Amazon Echo. This is a great opportunity, I think. If we see this come down to 3,400 flat, 3,406 is where I have a support marked for Amazon. I think that's going to be huge for them. But there's also a intraday support at 424. Right now, it's sitting at 3,436. So if it comes back down to 3,400 flat, I would be scooping some up there.
Okay. Garcia family asks, how about the drop on Workhorse? Yeah, Workhorse was down big today.
Yeah. So here's the juicy, controversial story on Workhorse. So I don't know everything as far as details are concerned, but if you guys recall Hindenburg, which is a platform that traditionally short stocks, and they put out hit pieces that, would be in their favor. But to be fair to Hindenburg, most of the time when they put out hit pieces, they're not wrong. They're at least accurate in their accusations. And the most recent blockbuster Hindenburg article that came out with loads of detrimental information was with Nikola. And we saw what happened with Nikola. Nobody has heard or seen from Trevor Milton since that article went out. He has stepped down. There's been a lot of criminal accusations on his part. So huge can of worms have been opened up on Nikola because of Hindenburg. And it's rumored that Hindenburg is now coming after Workhorse next. And so that's why we saw a huge drop off on here. But I've yet to have seen anything as far as any validities that the article is aimed at. The upcoming article is aimed at Workhorse. So I don't know if Hindenburg has Workhorse in its crosshairs or not. So this could just be a temporary sell-off because of that fear that's associated with that. But we have talked about Workhorse time and again about the risk that is involved with holding on to these EV stocks, especially when it comes to the SPACs and speculative plays and the risk that they pose. I'm not saying Workhorse is in the wrong, or I'm not saying that even the Hindenburg report that supposedly is coming out will be on Workhorse. But what I will say is that the only thing that Workhorse has going for it right now is this potential USPS deal that we have been waiting on since June. I mean, how long is this thing going to take? And so I think there's a lot of people that have been on edge because we still haven't heard anything from them, and it's October. And, when is this deal actually getting done? And so there's just been a lot of that swirling around, plus rumors flying around all over social media that the Hindenburg report is going to be coming out on Workhorse and could spell bad news for the stock. So that's why it's down today. Whether you're going to believe that or not is entirely up to you. But we knew that there's always inherent risk when it comes with these stocks, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, and the USPS deal, a lot of the people were saying, there's a lot of people saying it's this week, and there are people saying it was supposed to be today. So I think the timing of the Hindenburg rumor, plus as the day goes on, this ain't happening today, and as this week goes on, it ain't happening. And if it doesn't get done before election, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So watch out below on that one. Now it could happen, whatever, but yeah, just be careful with this one. Next question we have is James McCrea. Why is MGM down and Penn up?
That is a great question. They have an offering of $750 million in senior notes due by 2028. So that's probably why it hasn't actually moved. But $750 million, while it is a lot of money, it's over the next 8 years. So it's not really a big deal. I don't know. So that's probably why it hasn't moved as much as Penn. I still think that MGM will be fine. They have an offering here on senior notes, but it's just to continue to keep things afloat. I don't think it's going to impact the stock long term. I still think that MGM's a buy. If you can get this at $20 a share, I think you'd be in really good shape. It's still very undervalued. We look at this on the daily chart, and it's still, 40% from where it was before the crash. And so this still has a lot of room to run. And so if I'm looking at risk and reward here, I'd say that the $20 range is where I would be looking to scoop some shares up on MGM, despite this offering. This is offering over 8 years. I mean, they can spread that out big time. So it's not going to really impact the price action of the stock too much.
Yeah, we're not usually big fans of offerings. I think this is smart on their part. I think that this is the buying opportunity. But they mentioned that, we've said they have out of any of the casinos, like they have the best fundamentals, the cash on hand.
Yep.
So they're straight. And I think that this is a smart move. Part of it is to refinance some of their current debts. extend it out a little bit, probably a better rate.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're also keeping it on reserve just for safekeeping and in case, however long this plays out. But I think that this is a good move for them. And I think overall this is going to be, honestly, it's holding up better than I thought it would for how big of an offering that looks.
Me
I'm
too.
surprised it's holding up that well.
Me too. Whenever you see all of those zeros, you're like, oh God, what are we going to do with that kind of number? But when you consider a company of this magnitude and you look at something like Tesla, right, where they had a $2 billion offering and it was essentially absorbed within pre-market that day. So this is a span over 8 years. So I think they'll be just fine. There's nothing really to be all that concerned about. And I think this is definitely a huge buying opportunity. But Penn, thank God this has been coming back. We've been talking about this one being a buy at around $62, $63 a share. And sure enough, this thing's actually started to move up. I actually ended up adding to this in the public account. And it has done really, really well, sitting at 67.24. It's up 3.5% today. And look, $70 is going to be on the horizon, and that's just going to be cheap in the short term. I think that Penn sees $80 a share before long, maybe even leading into the end of the year. We could see that. And so I don't have any real desire to sell Penn anytime soon, and I might just end up holding on to it through the end of the year.
And remember this, when you're on the surface, they're kind of competitors, but it's not the same. Like Penn and DraftKings, FanDuel, those are competitors.
Right.
Penn has casinos. MGM has hospitality exposure. And so with the Barstool deal, they have similarities, but I wouldn't compare Penn and MGM.
No.
I would compare Penn and Caesars or MGM and Caesars, Wynn, whatever. But I am really, there's some other stuff with MGM. They announced another partnership, which maybe that's holding it up a little bit, but they have, it's like a parlay betting app thing. So that they're really doing the right things as far as BetMGM. And I don't think that I think it's getting lost in the Penn mix.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear more of that. I think next year is going to be a huge year for them, but it's still going to take some time. Barstool, though, it's funny because I think we're going to hear about Michigan being their next market. So that's a rumor. I think we're going to hear about that soon. I think in the next month, we're going to hear about Michigan, at least a launch date for the Barstool Sportsbook. And what's really cool is there's a casino in Detroit, which is called Greektown Casino. They're creating their sports lounge. That's going to be Barstool branded. Now, that's owned by Penn, so it makes sense.
Right.
But again, that we can start seeing their strategy play out for this Barstool Sportsbook. Not only do they have their community, but now they're going to start expanding. This is huge. This is going to be great. When Michigan gets announced, when they get into Michigan, we're going to see some really, really good numbers.
Yeah, and they have earnings coming up at the end of the month too, which I think that could surprise a lot of people as well. So definitely some good stuff going on with Penn. Like I said, no reason to sell this. I would continue to add on the dips. 62.5 seems to be a really solid support for Penn, and that's where I like it. It's where I ended up scooping up some more yesterday. So, we love it a lot. Can't say enough good things about it.
Richard Fleek, what about Rocket Mortgage?
What about it?
In a word.
What about it? So
yes,
we talk about Rocket all the time. I'm going to bring you over to the 4-hour chart because I thought that this was quite the analogy here by myself. I was quite proud of myself this morning because we talk about boner candles all of the time, and Rocket loves to have its morning wood every single day. Here's what happens. You look at over the last several days, and it just goes up right in the pre-market, or not pre-market. It goes right up probably within the first hour or two of the market, and then sells off, or stays flat. You can see this back on the 2nd. Did that? You could come back here, and it just goes right up and falls flat. Right up and falls flat. Even on the 8th, it did the same thing. And so this has kind of just been what's going on with Rocket. But nevertheless, it's still trending up in the right direction. It doesn't come back down nearly as much as it goes up. So, it's one of those things that, I think that it's just worth holding on to. We've talked about Rocket at length is why we love it. It's been doing really, really well. The key resistance for Rocket right now is at $24 a share. Every time it seems to go up to 24, it just gets beat right back down. So that's the spot that I'm watching for this to break through. If we can see a nice breakup over 24, a sustained breakup over 24, I think that we see some really nice fireworks out of Rocket. Looking forward to that.
Trevor Sachs, when do you expect an inflow for IBM? It's been down since their spinoff announcement. And I wanted to say one thing regarding this. So actually, it might be two things. So they have earnings on the 19th, which is next Monday. So I do expect a bit of a run towards the end of the week. This isn't speculation. I think that it's going to take some time for people to buy into IBM because it's such an old dog.
Yeah.
And I love the new CEO. I love this move. And so, but what I think people want to just like see some more like proof.
Right.
And so the earnings, I don't care about the earnings. What I care about is what they say about where they're going. And so what they're trying to get into, how they're trying to move. To me, they're trying to be a Microsoft, where Microsoft reinvented themselves and they did a great job at that.
Yeah.
IBM needs to do it. It will take some time, but I think it should see a little bit of a pop moving into earnings.
Yeah. And I think that if out of the two of us, you've done more due diligence on IBM than I have, but from a technical standpoint, I would say that IBM looks like it's a pretty good buy here at 123, sitting at 125.24 right now. So looks like it's got a pretty decent support at 123. Get it more specific around 123.30. So closer you get there, I think the more that it ends up being a buy, as long as you can start to see some buying return from that support level. But it looks good at that area. And for all the reasons that Fat Man Zoom explained, we like IBM as a buy.
D-Ray, is there still room for growth for Wayfair? I think yes.
I think so too. It'll be interesting to see what their earnings look like this time around. But yeah, I think Wayfair, I mean, we've talked about how real estate has just been going absolutely bonkers, right? Real estate or residential real estate in particular, not so much commercial. Obviously, commercial's in a lot of trouble right now. But people have been buying new homes. People are either trying to sell their homes, so they're using Wayfair products to maybe stage their home or something like along those lines. And then they're buying new homes, which means they'll need more furniture and other forms of decor to decorate their house. And so Wayfair falls right in line with that. And I think that they are going to do absolutely phenomenal in this upcoming earnings, but we'll see what they look like. But I think there's plenty of growth here still, very much so.
Felicia asked a question. Any thoughts on industrials like CAT and ROK?
Yeah, so this is one I actually talked about on Sunday. And sure enough, since Sunday, Caterpillar's been doing really, really well. This is actually my favorite one in the industrials. I like Caterpillar a lot. They've been able to adapt and kind of recover immensely from the Rona, especially in China and Asian markets. But Caterpillar's been doing really well. We've talked about this before. And actually, I need to correct myself. We didn't talk about this Stock Watch Sunday. We talked about this in the mentorship. Somebody was asking me about industrials. And somebody brought up the possibility of an electric, equipment for Caterpillar, earth movers, bulldozers, that sort of thing. And I was like, I have no idea. But if they do end up pivoting in that direction, which I feel like they should eventually, that'll be huge for this company. But no, I do love them a lot. They have a really good dividend. If you're looking for a buy here, look forward to see if it pulls back to 150.
And I actually really like Rockwell. I don't know a ton about them, but plant automation, focus on scalability. I like what they do. Their fundamentals look good. When you look at them, I don't think you go wrong with either one of them. So yeah. I'm a big fan of Rockwell. Brad likes Caterpillar. So Felicia, I think either one's good. Pittsburgh T. What's up with Helion? It's been flying down since the merger. Is it just panic selling?
I told your ass that was going to happen. So a lot of people gave me a bunch of shit. This was a cheesecloth condom stock pick at one point. I told everybody that once this went through, this was going to happen. We were going to see pops, and this was going to be selling off, because now the hard part happens. The hard part is that they got to raise money, and they have to actually continue to grow, and that's the hardest part. You know, the merger is great stuff. The buying on promises has now faded. The honeymoon is over, and now we get to work. And so that is why this is sold off. I would imagine we probably see some sort of offering from them, because they have to raise capital. So I'm not saying that Helion is a trash company or that you shouldn't buy it or stay away, but this is what volatility looks like, especially with a brand new company. And so I said this was going to happen. It's unfortunate that it happened for those of you who bought in the 50s, because now your position size has now been cut in half. But I tried to warn you. Would I buy this? I think scaling in could be appropriate, but not until it comes down to maybe about $20 a share, because that seems to be right where the valuation is. And that's even a little bit overvalued as far as I'm concerned.
All right. We might need to trim it up a little bit. We have a lot more questions.
That's all right.
Steve King, thinking about selling NVIDIA to get in more Amazon. Do you think it's a winning decision?
I don't think you'd go wrong with either one of them, honestly.
Fast R, guys, what are your thoughts on Ford Motor Company, new F-150 due soon, bigger EV, and the Bronco relaunch?
Yeah, this was just actually upgraded today, which is why we've seen such a big move. Upgraded to $10 a share by some analyst. I don't remember where it was. But, you know, I think that really what's going to actually send Ford moving upward is going to be the return of their dividends. If they can actually do that, I think that Ford's going to do really well as far as the stock's concerned. We'll probably see this maybe around $15, $16 a share if the dividends returned. That would be huge for the company. So look for that to show up on the next earnings report.
Patrick Wazercheck, end of year price prediction for Apple.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think we could see this return back to 140, which is where it was just when the split took place on Apple by the end of the year.
Nice. I say 150, 125. All right. See you do. Ema, is Uber a good play from a technical standpoint?
No. It's terrible. Stay away from Uber.
Michael McGovern, Bank of America, is at 24.90 and trending downward. That was more of a statement, not a question.
Oh.
But that is an interesting, it's been around that 25 level, if I remember correctly from the chart.
Yeah, they have earnings coming up Thursday, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Thursday, so it'll be interesting to see what they look like. But yeah, it comes back down to 23. It might be a good buying opportunity there.
Carnegie Gaming, do you think, well, I think we kind of answered this. Do you think Workhorse secures a partnership with USPS? How likely do you think it will happen?
I think it's 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. Danny Daniel got murdered on Workhorse. Well, I hope you got out and cut your losses.
Yeah.
Eric Scarl, into house. Have you ever noticed a short, sharp peak in your portfolio just after the market closes? Could be a Robinhood thing.
No, never seen that before. Interesting
Jordan
question.
Weeble.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Weeble's doing a special right now. They actually extended it to the end of the month. If you guys click the link in the description, if you want to hop on over to Weeble, they're now doing 2 free stocks. It used to be 1. In September, August, September, it was only 1 stock you got free. So if you fund your account with $100 by clicking on the link in the description, not only does it help support this channel, but you get 2 free stocks just for loading it up with $100. That's all you got to do. Fund it with $100, you'll get 2 free stocks out of it, valued up to $1,600. So you can get.
What's up, Claudia? You done?
I was just saying you could get a stock that's
wrong.
valued all the way up to $1,600 a share. So that would be awesome if you guys got that.
What's up, Claudia? Hey, guys. What would be a good price point to get back into Fastly? Took profits at 128.
Man, what a freaking monster, right? And I'm glad that you took profits at 128 because I do think that there's going to be a fallout here. The rug's got to get pulled at some point, Claudia. And I'm not saying that it can't keep going, right? It went up as high as 136. I said it was a sell back last week, and it's still continuing to go up. I still stand by that. I mean, I just can't see why this is going to continue to run like this. It's way too overbought. And if If it comes back down to 120, I could see that as a reasonable area to potentially buy a dip on.
Cool.
I love Fastly though.
I think it's supposed to be made today. Garcia family said the decision for the USPS deal got delayed. Richard Fleek, Nokia. Thoughts on Nokia?
Yeah, so this is going to be a 5G play, Nokia. It's always nice and cheap. We've talked about this quite a bit. And it just kind of continues to bounce around between $4 and $5 a share. But we'll see what these next upcoming earnings look like, which should be fairly soon. But I think that this is still a sleeper. I think this is a 5G sleeper. And if you have the patience for it, tuck it away and don't look at it. I think this will surprise you maybe going into 2021, especially as 5G starts to become more and more of a thing.
Eric Scarl, I have Amazon earnings as 1029, but I've been known to be wrong as far as earnings are concerned. So I would just double check that.
Yeah.
You have October 22nd post market of 1029. Jeff Chow bought into Lyft today at the lows and wanted to see what your thoughts were on that. Maybe put it on people's radar. Prop 22 is also on the docket that will allow drivers to be contractors.
Yeah, I mean, and that's great news for their employees, right? But it's actually not great news for the company and their bottom line. It's also not great news. I mean, yeah, it's not great news for the bottom line. I don't like Lyft and I don't like Uber for the simple fact that people are buying more. We saw the demand for used cars go up, right? Used car sales were going through the roof. New car sales are now going through the roof, which means that people aren't using forms of mass transit because they're afraid. And they don't want to catch the Rona. We saw this. We've been seeing it over the last 6 months now. The demand for vehicles and people buying their own cars has been amazing, huge. And what Uber and Lyft, they both have this subscribe to the mentality at growing at all costs. And now this has bit them in the ass tremendously. So I would stay away from both of these. The industry is not doing well, and the way that they have been running their companies have not been doing well either.
Well, and think about this. When do you usually use an Uber? When you're drinking.
Right.
Like, people aren't going out the same way.
Yeah.
A lot of places aren't even open. So they're not going to see the revenues they need to see to move this stock. This looks like it's dying a slow death. Now,
Yes.
it'll come back when we open back up, but I agree. I'm not a big fan of the stock.
Yeah.
So it was the stock. Sorry, I'm lost on that. So, Hail, nice to see you. I think we answered your question about MGM. If you weren't here, it's a buy, is basically what it is.
Yep.
Nino Fisher, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on SPACs? Thinking of IPOB and IPOC. So IPOB, a lot of people are asking about this. It's the open door, which we talked about right when it went off. It's interesting that now it's coming up. We like it in general. We like open door for the same reasons why we like Rocket.
Yeah.
IPOC, if I remember correctly, that's a SPAC, but that hasn't announced who that's going to be the reverse merger in. And you have, what did I say, Brad? It's like 2 years to do that.
Right.
So that's just, if you just want to sit and wait, you can do that. But IPOB is the one everybody's talking about.
And this is just way too high. I mean, it's just way too
Yeah, we
high.
call those Snoop Dogs.
Yeah.
Stay away from the Snoop Dogs.
Yeah. It's just not good. It's just not, I mean, why would you buy something this high? You know, I mean, how high is it really going to go from here? I'm not saying that it can't continue. We've seen stranger things. This is 2020 after all. But it's just, I just couldn't. We talk about not chasing boners all the time. And this is not one
You're gambling.
Yeah.
Is essentially what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, Kim, would you enter Goldman Sachs now? It's tanking today.
Goldman Sachs, is it? I haven't looked at it today.
I don't know.
I don't know if it would be tanking. It's down 2%, so not really a big deal. I think Goldman Sachs is a buy, honestly. We have earnings coming up on Goldman Sachs tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Pre-market.
Yeah, so tomorrow pre-market. So I think that Goldman Sachs actually does really well as far as their earnings are concerned. So I'm not saying that, bet the farm that they're going to beat earnings and you'll be good if you buy it here. But, because we always know that earnings can be kind of a crapshoot, but I think they're going to do really well. And if this sell-off is this sell-off is something that I would treat as a opportunity.
Next question is from. Ooh, how did I miss that? Okay. I don't know who it's from because I lost it, but somebody was asking, what do we think about Net Element, which is, oh, here we go. What do you guys think of Net Element? Okay. Huang Zhang, just seeing huge moves from it. It's NETE.
Yeah, sitting at $7.31 a share. I don't have any opinions on this. Look at this chart. It is ugly. Went from $20 to $7, all the way back up to $16.50. I can't get behind that. I mean, I stay away. Be driving yourself crazy in that stock.
So Kyle Butler is asking any thoughts on Facebook or AMD.
That's a tough one. I would
and
probably.
Vinay says hold AMD. They gonna go places.
Yeah, I would definitely be holding on to AMD. No question about it. And really, I would be holding on to Facebook as well. Took some profit off of this one yesterday. Actually bought into this earlier in the week last week. Made some decent profit. Looking for this to come back down to the 260s. If it does that, I'll start to work my way back in.
Vinay's been in AMD since the 40s. Good on you.
Yeah.
Kissy D and Dina Karagianopoulos asking about level 2. So the level 1 cannot see the public account.
Right.
That's level 2. You can level up.
Yeah. So just to give you guys perspective. So I am always showing you what I'm in here when we're going live and stuff like that in the Webull account. And again, as you can see, we're up 20% compared to the S&P this month, which is only up 5%. And, you know, I update everybody on the changes that I made in the portfolio, not necessarily for you to just copy all of my trades. And I'm aware that people do that. So I'm not going to just sit here and harp on it, but just to kind of show you my method, my strategy on how I go about scaling in and scaling out on stocks and that sort of thing, how I see value and where I see things that are undervalued and that sort of thing. So it's something you want to be a part of, especially if you guys are watching that aren't in the Chaos Crew. The join button is next to subscribe, and this will give you access to that every single day of the week.
Don Fran, what's up? What's up? Sam Abramowitz, thoughts on CVS? Can it hit $65 by the end of the year, which is about 10% from where it's at now?
Yeah, so this is actually one of the top stocks we called out for October back in the first couple of days of the month. And it has broken out of this trend. I think 65 is definitely achievable. And it'll be interesting to see what earnings look like later on in November. But I think that this is definitely one, especially, you know, if the Rona vaccine goes through, we have something else as far as treatment's concerned that can be administered at a pharmacy. CVS is going to go the hell off.
Level 2. Okay, so Kim. DPC. Oh, calm down. DPZ blowing up Domino's.
Yeah. So this is one that I actually said I really liked down at in the 390s. Got a little bit lower than that, down in the high 380s, but it still looks very bullish in my opinion, and it went off today. Looks really, really great. I actually plan on locking in some profit. I have a stop order here. Let's see if it gets tripped. It hasn't gotten tripped yet at 404 even, but now going up to 405. So it's a really great move today. I'm not sure it's going to sustain, so I was looking to just try to take some profit and maybe try to get on some sort of dip, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it looks great today. This is another Chaos Crew winner today as well. We talked about DPZ last week after earnings and said that it was a clear buy, and sure enough, making a really good move today. Jason
Padilla, your thoughts on Boeing?
I'm still hesitant on Boeing, even though it's one of those ones where, you know, it's tough for me because you can always say that, oh, well, they're too big to fail because the government's behind them and everything else. And that is true. But look what's happened to them since June. Nothing but a downward trend. There's nothing that's been bullish about this on the chart since June. Literally since June, it has barely moved. And so the only way that's going to actually get this moving, I think, in my opinion, is A, stimulus. And if they can somehow get this max air mess, you know, away, if they can fix this somehow, that's the only two reasons where I would say, yes, this is a buy, but this is tough, man. It has established a support around 150. So if it comes back down there, maybe start accumulating there. But I don't really like Boeing, at least this year.
And FYI to everyone, when I called out Spirit Spirit Aero Systems, which is ticker SPR, and I said I was a big fan of it, or if you were into Boeing, it was a good play outside of Boeing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's an investigation in Spirit that the complaint was filed in February, but apparently the investigation is moving forward about some accounting principles and misleading information. So just keep an eye on that. If it proves to be nothing, then the stock should pop back.
Yep.
But be careful. It's already down over 5% on the day. I just wanted to let you guys know. I just heard about that. Next question is Patson Macava. What do you think about GoPro GPRO?
Oh, it's terrible. It's just bad. Limitless Combo, welcome to level 2. Happy to have you.
Well, then the next one, Justin R. ExxonMobil.
This is tough. I think short term, this might have a little bit of a pop, especially if we have some sort of positive news on opening the country back up. But oil is never coming back to where it was, just never coming back. So, invest at your own risk. But this is very, very risky at this point.
Ian Allen, is Dillard's a buy? DDS.
I don't know.
It's down 12. Damn.
Holy hell. It's down 13% right now. What's going on here? I have no idea why this is down. From the chart perspective, all I can tell you is look to see if this actually bounces from around 39.48. But yes, it's down quite a bit. Not quite sure what's going on there though.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick look to see if I can really quickly. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'll look while we're talking. All right, so
last couple.
Level two trades only seen at the end of the trading day or after trades made?
At the end of the trading day. I post it just like I would post it for in the morning for our watch list. I post it after market close just to update you guys on what I've been able to do. If you want real-time access, then you'll want to be part of the mentorship, which the link is in the description, and you can get free 30 days of that if you want to be a part of that by entering in the code Halloween 20. Halloween 20 is the code for a free 30 days of the mentorship. I go live every single day in the morning. Let you guys know what I'm looking at, why I'm planning on buying this or that. You might see me make some live trades. We just kind of have a discussion. But then I also alert people within our Discord group in there as well when I buy and sell things. So if you want real-time access, you'll have to get into the mentorship. But if you just want to see my portfolio at the end of the day, then level 2 might be for you.
All right. We don't have many more. People talking about scooping up GE entry. Tui Bui. What's a good entry on Penn?
62.50 is kind of really where I'm looking at on Penn. And I don't plan on adding anything else to Penn unless it comes down to those levels.
It's Chris. Brad, is it worth switching to Webull from E-Trade? He wants that 4 a.m. trading.
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely something to be said to keep your E-Trade account, though. I wouldn't completely abandon it. I always encourage people to have more than one brokerage, but Webull has been great to me. I haven't had any real serious issues, a couple of glitches here and there, but I feel like that's to be expected with any brokerage. But the ease of use, and we've talked about this yesterday, Christian and I off air, like just some of the stuff that they have that I haven't really even explored yet. Their analyst price targets and things are so easy to read that I don't know. I just love it a lot. I think it's definitely worth making the switch if you want to use it as your main brokerage or what have you. But it's great. It's a great place to great brokerage.
Faye, you guys talk about starter and full position size. Are those always the same percentage of your portfolio?
It depends on what I'm investing in and what kind of confidence I have in it. You know, if I'm looking at Apple, I would probably take more Apple than I would something like a JetBlue because of the level of risk that poses between those two companies. Obviously, JetBlue would be more risky, so I'm going to take a little bit less of a position size. Whereas Apple, I have more confidence in because it's Apple, so I would probably take a larger position size. But as far as getting in and getting out, I always scale in. You know, let's just say I have a position size of $1,000, using about 20 to 30% of that $1,000 to scale in each time I buy and even sell. Scaling out is how I make my approach, and that's what my strategy is like.
Yeah. I'm Mine is very similar. For people who have smaller accounts, like I think to starter in a full size, so two times you could potentially do. I do thirds, and I'm looking at around $6,000 as a full position size, basically like 20% of my account. I don't want allocated to something else. So, a starter position would be anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500, depending on the stock. Now, if I'm buying Amazon, my starter position is $3,500.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so my starter position is typically around that 2,000 to 2,500. But if it's a really spec, I might use half of that. But it's fluid. Just have an idea of what you want, and really the max position is what you want to be careful with is not going outside of that and getting greedy. Okay, Patrick Wazelchek sold my T-Doc today. What do you think is a good buy-in? 219 and 220?
Let's look at it. By the way, while I have that pulled up, Deepak, welcome to the KS crew. Happy to
What
have
up,
you.
Deepak?
So yeah, looking at this, I would say a pullback down to 204 actually could be a really clear buy there. And yeah, I would say more along the lines of around 217.50 could be the next, or could be the initial support there. But I really love this down at 201. That would be awesome if it came back down to that level.
Calm down. What do you think of NNDM? Seems to bounce between 290 and 330. Kathy Wood bought like 1 million of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. That she gotten into this one. Look, this is very speculative. I don't imagine that Kathy Wood has a large amount of her portfolio. A couple million doesn't really it doesn't really sound like it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't when something's priced at $3 a share. So the thing about Kathy Wood and ARK Invest is that they get into things that are highly speculative. Obviously, they like to get into things that are disruptors in their space, but they come with their own inherent risk. So just because they have been so bullish on Tesla and they got it right doesn't mean they're right about everything. And they might be right about this, but we just never know. It's still very speculative. There's a reason it's $3 a share, so just be careful with that.
Ab Yoga, Darden Restaurants, a buy. Darden Restaurants. Basically, Darden Restaurants a buy. What they were saying was that a lot of the smaller restaurants are closing, so they should benefit. Sorry, I lost it.
Well, that's all good. Yeah, I'm still not big on any of these hospitality stocks. I mean, unless we hear something along stimulus lines or we're reopening the country, then I can't really hop on the hospitality bandwagon just yet.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot. Like, don't.
Yeah.
It seems I get it, but like I said before, don't do these brick and mortar hospitality or do whatever you want. I wouldn't be interested in that. Go to the alcohol providers. Go the ones that have off premise, which off premise just means you can buy liquor and go home. That's a liquor store.
Yeah.
On premise is you drink there, so it's restaurants. On premise, if these places stay at 50, even 75% capacity, they won't be able to cover their nut. So moving forward, next year is going to be a really tough year for hospitality. It's not going to bounce back like a lot of these places. Now you look at casinos are meant to be spaced out a little bit more, but restaurants and bars need to be packed. Every butt needs to be in the seat. And usually it's more than 100% capacity. So it's really dangerous. I understand why people are interested in it, but get into the Sam Adams, get into Anheuser-Busch,
Yeah.
which I meant to tell you, I was talking to somebody in the industry. I didn't even realize this, but we were talking about how, and Brown Forman's one I brought up.
Yeah.
Any of those you'll be fine with. Anheuser-Busch has been down lately, and I don't know if this is the reason, but something interesting was aluminum production. So my friend owns Hoop Tea, which is a local brand here, and they can't get aluminum until February. If they ordered it today, until February of 2021.
Damn.
So apparently it's like impossible. And so they can't even meet their demand. And that's Hoop Tea, like a little
That's wild.
regional place. So I think he was telling me that that's an issue that Anheuser-Busch is having, is getting enough aluminum for their cans.
Supply chain issues have been a big factor across the board. I just never would have thought that supply chain issues on aluminum would be a big thing. That's crazy.
I got a couple more. Blimmin, if you had to choose one, Tesla or Amazon to buy now?
Oh man, you guys always give me hard ones. Tesla.
Amazon.
I mean, yes, they're both right. So yeah, there you go.
Prime time. That's funny. It's not real. It's a cap fireplace, so it doesn't work. But I could get like a fake setup.
Yeah, you could just throw like an electric fireplace under there or something.
It has Snookaroo. Hey fellas, thanks for all your help. You are welcome. Soan T Faisal, can I get the mentorship in Discord? So I think I can learn what I wanted to learn. Most of the time, my questions remain unread in level 2 up there. Asked about Helion, dropped right now. We talked about Helion.
Yeah,
You've
a
lot. So we may not directly answer your question, but if it's been asked. However, with that being said, something I tried on Sunday, it worked fine. If you have a question that you want to get answered, go to stockwatchsunday.com, ask a questions at the top, or go to stockwatchsunday.com/members, either one. But that gets emailed to me. I'll get with Brad and I'll answer the question until we get overwhelmed with it. So we had like 8 questions. But if you want that answer, cool. But we try our best to get to all you guys.
Yep.
Apparently JW Marriott was packed this weekend. I think I got one more. Okay, so Kim, what's a good entry point for Starbucks?
Oh, Starbucks. So this is one that I'm definitely bullish on. I would wait for this to cool off though. 89.50 maybe. It's coming down close to that area though. So 89.50 could be a good area of support for this one. If it cannot hold that, then maybe look for this to come down to around 83. I know it's a little bit of a difference there, but that looks like the next area of a real solid support, somewhere around 83.50 if it can't hold up above $89. But definitely bullish.
All right. We got a couple that I didn't get to, but like I said, you guys can message us.
Yep. StockwatchSunday.com. Go there. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you are joining us for the first time, hopefully we earn a subscription from you. And again, if you want to be part of the Chaos Crew, hit join next to subscribe, and you'll get a daily watch list from us, private live streams, and also access to the public account. So if you guys want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you over there. Please hit the like button on your way out. And as always, folks, we'll see you all before the bell. Have a good day.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. P2.